All right, into fire investigation. We're going to wrap this up, and we're going to get on outside. So I got my fire investigators out here. You got some over there, right? You know about toxic smoke hazards. We just talked about that. We know about thermal runaway issues. Be aware for reignition. If the firefighters don't know to remove the cell when you're doing the investigation, you can have a bad day.
What do you got going on today?
Jerry Means and Ryder Robeson have worked together for a while.
We have, since it's day one.
And although they've seen a lot in their time as fire investigators,
We spent some time in the dark together, out on fire scenes, crawling around.
nothing was quite like this past Sunday night.
I thought he had just burned his face off, to put it out there.
Terrifying, because it just happened like that.
You've likely seen the videos of lithium-ion battery explosions. They're like dysfunctional fireworks, shooting sparks, fire, and debris everywhere. This one at a campsite in Utah, this on a plane in Europe.
It just makes you go, oh my God.
Jerry and Ryder were responding to a similar call Sunday. A skateboard with lithium-ion batteries had exploded in a home. These are some photos. One of the roommates had minor burns, but all got out okay. Then, as Jerry and Ryder arrived to investigate,
It appeared that all of these batteries had already burned. They had self-ventilated. And so with that, we also took the extra step of utilizing a thermal imaging camera to ensure the temperature was okay. As I set them down, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a red glow.
And he said something like, uh-oh. It just, boom, exploded. And the next thing I remember is that we're about 12 feet away.
these events are becoming more common. What these firefighters and others want to stress is that
One of my buddies from Toronto Fire with their hazmat group, Hazmat 145, they do battery remediation. They do the removal of these things. It even happened to him about a month and a half ago. He said he was handling a battery. You don't handle batteries with your hands. These temperatures, we already talked about how hot they are and how quickly they happen. You heard these investigators from Adams County, Colorado, how quickly it happened. My hazmat tech and partner and good instructor from Firehouse Training ended up, he's telling me he's holding the battery. He got a little bit complacent with it. He's disposing of it. And that thing went off in his hand, bam, just like that. Luckily, he didn't get burned. But these things happen from zero to instantly. You saw the video from the ATF that we watched this morning, right? From the outside, there was no signs. Inside, it kept on separating, and then bam! That's what they saw. Fire investigators, be aware. Right now, fire investigators, I do a big class when it comes on down to PPE for them, whether we're going to wear an APR with the proper cartridges. I recommend an SCBA, not a full firefighting SCBA. We don't need a pass device, but Redmond Fire Department in Washington, they gave me their SOG to do a light, like instead of that 45, 50, 60-pound monstrosity that we use for firefighting nowadays, because it has every single gizmo on it. It's like the old 1970s, 80s SCBA. It's just literally just straps, don't pass or anything else like that. It's much lighter, but at least wear some type of respiratory protection. Wear eye protection, absolutely, and we need to have skin protection. My fire investigators, don't let that battery send you in the wrong direction. My current edition of NFPA 921 right now will tell you if it's a battery fire, we're going to look for multiple fires, and that's going to be ruled initially. We're going to start looking at it and consider it an incendiary set. Oh, there's multiple starts. This has got to be arson. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is that Tesla fire I talked about. This is in Deer Park, Washington, just north of Spokane. Look how far those batteries are launching. And there you see that toxic, there's the smoke in the middle. That's a hot fire. Look how hot that is. But the biggest thing here that I want you to see, of course, is the rocketing batteries. And we're going to carry on with that. This slide comes from Captain Chris Green right here. We know that those batteries can't levy. We're going to have that relief valve in that vent. But now it's turned these batteries into tiny little rocket ships, right? And because of that, these things are going to start launching. At the Battery Symposium in New York back in 2022, my good friend Steve Kolarchek on Hazmat 1, he was assigned to put together this training scenario, and he did not put the plastic guards up first. After the first trial, before people got there, his lieutenant, John Cassidy, said, yeah, we got to put up some stops on this. Let's take a little bit of energy here. Burn that into your eyes right now, fire investigators. These things can travel and they can give us multiple sets and they can send us in the wrong direction. But with all that, I want to make sure before I talk about this part right here, don't let the battery be the new cigarette. Like I said, I'm going to bring this and walk this over here for the fire investigators. Everybody else feel free to take a look at it. I just don't want to hand it out because it's fragile, right? It's a high quality piece of equipment I got from Amazon for $169. The ATF is very interested in this device. $169. What this device does, unlike that two-wire cord I showed you earlier, instead of me plugging into one outlet and just plugging into the others, it's a separator. So I plug this into the plug, and if I am not charging an EV, it'll charge the dryer. When I plug the EV in and I charge the EV, it'll turn the dryer off. So now I'm reducing the resistance. Good stuff, right? This was 3.6 pounds shipping weight, according to Amazon. Here's the internals, and I know we have a few other investigators here. Be very careful with the actual outlet plug. The big thing I like with the outlet plug, and I was hoping to tape this up, the positive wire on this was stabbed into this breaker. Take a look at that wiring that they put together and look at the thickness and welds and the soldering job of that. This thing is less than 4 pounds, and it's supposed to take the amperage of your full dryer and your full car, and it costs $160. Still on Amazon today. I put a recommendation for them to remove it, but that's going to start a fire, and then the car is going to subsequently start on fire. And then we're going to go there and say, oh, this is absolutely an EV fire. No, it's somebody that bought crap off of Amazon. We have to be aware of that. We have to identify that. So you have to be very diligent, fire investigators, not just sit there and say, oh, it's a battery problem, because the battery company is going to be going after you big time. Oh, firefighters, you need to be aware of this, and our investigators need to be aware of this as well. Don't do this. Don't be in the news like this. I'm not going to throw this department under the bus on this. They did what they thought was right. They responded to a battery fire of tools, like the Ryobi tools that we have. They end up going in, offensively fighting in the garage, knock those fires out. Next to them is a large-scale snowblower battery, lithium-ion battery, snowblower battery, like a lawnmower battery, right? And they don't remove that battery because it didn't look like, it wasn't involved in the fire, whatever. Yank out the rest of the stuff, do a little bit of overhaul, we're good. Call it a day, guys. They get toned out 12 hours later. That snowblower battery caught on fire. $20,000 worth of damage. They end up ripping out the walls of the friggin' garage, do a little bit of overhaul, check for extension. All right, guys, we made a mistake. We're not going to do this again. Let's rip out all the batteries, get them outside, put them on the front driveway, put them next to the house on the front driveway. Yeah, it goes in the thermal runaway again, burns up the exterior of the house, and causes $780,000 worth of damage. Get these batteries out of the house. Get them away from the house. Work with your investigators on a proper plan. That's why I say take pictures. No cell left behind. We may not take the batteries to our station. There's exceptions that we have to, but at least get them. You have to get them out of the house. You have to get them out of the house.
Do you take them somewhere in your vehicle?
Oh, there's policies you have to do on that as well. Our policies are open pickup truck only. We have drums. We have specific drums for that. They cannot be in the back of a medic unit, a van, and a fire engine. I have an open exposed pickup truck. I keep them because they can go into thermal runaway anytime, right? Wrapping up our fire investigation here. What about evidence? Evidence collection. Yes, absolutely. If we collect evidence, fire investigators, we got to collect it, work with the law enforcement partners, and then we're going to have to use a chain of custody and make sure we put it in an evidence locker.
Begin with breaking news in Brooklyn.
Firefighters are battling a huge fire at an NYPD impound facility.
Where are
in
you
Red
storing
Hawk.
your
This
batteries
is video
for
from
evidence?
Our ground crew on the scene where the Office of Emergency
Do you
Management
want
is
to
advising
destroy
people who live
30
in the
years
area
worth
to
of other
avoid
cases
it
of
and close
criminal
all
events
windows.
that have nothing
Be
to do
careful
with
of the
fires?
smoke. Jim Smith is live in
We need a different scenario. We need a different location for battery, for damaged batteries
smoke
to
is
be
blowing in
located
a
for my
general
evidence locker.
south-southwest
We need to
direction
figure out a
towards the
plan.
area of Sunset
FDNY,
Park
I get a
and
text
possibly
message
down
from
towards the Bay
Lieutenant
Ridge
Cassidy
area.
on
Now,
this
the
this
fire
morning.
itself
Like,
is along
I
Columbia
highly
Street
bet
and
that
Red
this is
Hook,
most
as we're
likely,
getting
he's
some
on
information
his
that
call, he's
part of
texting
this
me.
building
He's
may be part of the
yeah, there's a high
NYPD
likelihood that this is a
yard.
scooter fire. This is where we store all of our consumed and all of our
fire
impounded
and
scooters
police
that we use
boats
as part
on
of
the
the site.
scene spraying
It
water
wasn't.
into the building. There are
It was an
also
outlet on the other
firefighters
side of the
on
building that went
ground,
into
trying to get
it
hoses
caught on
and
fire. It was
equipment closer
electrical
to the
indeterminate.
building, but those
But do you think
firefighters
the
on the ground are
batteries
also spraying
accelerated
water
this
into
fire
the
and turned it
building?
into a
At
alarm
this
drop?
point, we have
These
seen
guys
one
lost over
person
30 years
being
of
treated for
criminal
injuries.
cases,
The
of
extent
murder
of those
victims,
injuries
other
are not
things like
known.
that.
It's not clear if there are any other
Investigators take heed. Law
additional
enforcement
injuries.
take heed.